Monica Green arrived at the exclusive Emerald Suites, impressed by the luxury but wearing a casual outfit after a long flight. At the front desk, she faced dismissive treatment from Bradley, who couldn't find her reservation. Despite offering her assistant's name, Jasmine Peterson, he still found nothing. Frustrated but composed, Monica requested to speak with a manager. Manager Sarah told her they were fully booked, implying the issue was about selective clientele, a veiled form of discrimination. Monica, already accustomed to this type of judgment, calmly walked out. She decided to take action, not just by filing a complaint, but by buying the hotel. She would turn this disrespect into an opportunity. The next morning, after gathering information from her assistant Jasmine and legal team, Monica learned of the hotel's struggles, declining revenue, staff turnover, and rumors of discriminatory practices. She saw an opportunity to acquire the hotel at a good price. Her attorney, Arthur, agreed that if Crescent Holdings was facing financial issues, they might be willing to sell. Monica's resolve was clear. She wasn't just going to buy a hotel, she was going to take control of a space that had tried to shut her out. She planned to move quickly and decisively, making sure her offer was strong and fast before the owners realized the leverage they had. This wasn't just a business move, it was personal. "Perfect," Monica said, leaning forward. "I want an update by the end of the day. If we can get this moving by the end of the week, I'll consider that a win." Arthur nodded. "I'll make it happen." The call ended, and Monica leaned back in her chair, the adrenaline from executing a major deal surging through her. This deal was different. It wasn't just about expanding her empire, it was about reclaiming her power and making a statement that couldn't be ignored. Monica had always believed that the best way to handle prejudice was to rise above it, and now she was going to do exactly that. Monica's determination to succeed burned brightly. She was determined to make such an impact that no one could ever question her place in the world. What better way to do that than by purchasing the very hotel that had tried to reject her? She spent the rest of the afternoon working on her other business matters, but her thoughts kept drifting back to the deal. She imagined the headlines that would follow: "Billionaire businesswoman purchases hotel after facing discrimination." It wouldn't just be a news story, it would be a cultural moment. It would serve as a reminder that people like her, Black women, women of color, those who had been sidelined and ignored, were now taking control of the spaces they had once been excluded from. As the evening approached, her phone buzzed with a message. It was from Arthur. "We've got good news. Crescent Holdings is more desperate than we thought. I'll explain tomorrow, but this could move faster than expected." Monica smiled as she read it. Things were progressing even more quickly than she had hoped, bringing her one step closer to her goal. She couldn't wait to walk into the Emerald Suites, not as a guest, but as the owner. The next morning, Monica met with Arthur and the rest of her legal team in her office. They carefully reviewed the financials, and Arthur explained how Crescent Holdings had been quietly attempting to offload several properties due to cash flow problems. The Emerald Suites was one of the first to go. Monica's timing couldn't have been better. "They're in a vulnerable position," Arthur said, laying the documents in front of her. "They need to sell this hotel, and fast. If we make the right offer, I think we can close within the next few weeks, but we'll need to move quickly before they start shopping it around to other buyers." Monica nodded, already calculating her next steps. "I want an offer on their desk by tomorrow morning. Let's start low and see what they come back with. I'm willing to pay a fair price, but I want them to know I'm not here to play games." Arthur smiled, clearly enjoying the process. "Understood. We'll draft the offer today and have it ready for your review by this evening." The meeting continued as they hashed out the details, the due diligence, contract terms, and the timeline. Monica's legal team was thorough, and she trusted them to manage the complexities of the transaction while she focused on the bigger picture. When the meeting ended, she felt a sense of satisfaction. Everything was falling into place, and Crescent Holdings was in no position to negotiate aggressively. Soon, the Emerald Suites would be hers. As she sat alone in her office, Monica realized that this was more than just a business deal. It was about reclaiming her identity, rejecting the limitations others tried to place on her. The staff at the Emerald Suites had made a mistake when they turned her away. They had underestimated her, just like so many others before them. But Monica was about to show them exactly who they had wronged. When she walked back through those doors, it would be as the woman who owned the place, not as a guest. Because Monica Green didn't just demand respect, she commanded it. By the end of the week, the negotiations had moved fast. Arthur had informed Monica that Crescent Holdings had taken the bait. They were interested in selling the Emerald Suites. As Arthur had predicted, their financial troubles made them eager to close the deal quickly. The hotel was losing money, and they needed to get rid of it before it became a bigger liability. Monica sat in her office reviewing the first draft of the purchase offer. Everything made sense. The hotel was significantly undervalued, and she knew she could turn things around once she had control. The satisfaction of buying it for a steal was tempting, but the real victory was knowing what this purchase would represent. It wasn't just a business move, it was a reclaiming of her dignity in a world that often tried to diminish her worth. Later that day, Arthur had set up a call with the representatives from Crescent Holdings. Monica had been through many high-stakes negotiations, but this one felt different. There was a personal edge to it. She wasn't just trying to buy a property, she was sending a message to Crescent Holdings, to everyone who had doubted her. As the meeting approached, Monica steeled herself. This was her moment. She picked up her phone and dialed into the call. Arthur's calm voice greeted her. "Good afternoon, everyone," he said, professionally introducing Monica. "Monica's just joined us, and we're ready to proceed." David Hill, one of Crescent Holdings' senior executives, responded politely but with an edge of anxiety in his voice. "Good afternoon, Ms. Green. We've reviewed the initial offer from your team, and while we're open to a sale, there are a few points we'd like to discuss further." Monica didn't miss the subtle nervousness in his tone. She knew they were in a difficult position, and she wasn't about to let them push her around. "I understand, David," she said smoothly, "but let me make one thing clear. I'm not here to drag this out. If we can reach an agreement that makes sense for both sides, I'm prepared to move forward quickly." David hesitated, clearly surprised by her directness. Monica wasn't here for games. She was here for what she wanted. "We're eager to move forward as well," David said, finding his composure. "However, we feel the initial offer is a bit below market value. The Emerald Suites is one of our premier assets, and we'd like to see a price that reflects that." Monica raised an eyebrow, unfazed by the standard negotiation tactics. "With all due respect, David, I think we both know that the Emerald Suites hasn't been performing well for some time. The occupancy rates are down, customer satisfaction is slipping, and from what I've seen in the financials, the hotel is becoming a liability. My offer reflects the property's current state, not its potential." A pause followed, and Monica could almost feel the unease on the other end. David knew she was right. The hotel wasn't the asset it once was. Arthur joined in, agreeing with Monica's assessment. "Monica's correct," Arthur said smoothly. "Our offer is based on the hotel's current financial condition. We understand you might have a different valuation in mind, but we believe our offer is fair given the circumstances." David cleared his throat, trying to regain some control. "We hear your points, but we still want to explore a price that better reflects the property's potential in the future." Monica leaned back, poised and firm. "I'm not buying potential, David. I'm buying the hotel as it stands. I'm confident I can turn things around, but I'm not paying for something that hasn't earned its future yet." There was another long pause, and Monica knew she had them right where she wanted them. David's tone had softened when he spoke again. "Let me speak with my team, and we'll get back to you with a response." Monica nodded, satisfied. "Take your time, but remember, my offer is on the table. The sooner we agree, the sooner we all move forward." The call ended, and Monica leaned back in her chair, feeling a surge of adrenaline. It wasn't just about the money. It was about taking control, proving her strength, and showing the world she wouldn't be pushed aside. Arthur called her shortly after the meeting. "I think that went well," he said. "They're in a tough spot, and I don't think they have many options left. We'll hear back soon." Monica smiled, her confidence unwavering. "I agree. They don't have much choice. Let's wait for their response, but I'm sure they'll come around." And sure enough, the deal was finalized within weeks, faster than Monica had anticipated. Crescent Holdings, with their financial struggles, had ultimately agreed to her terms. Arthur and his legal team had sealed the deal efficiently. And Zrenia, making everything airtight. Now, Monica Green was the proud owner of the Emerald Suites, but this was more than just a transaction. It was about power. It was about taking back control in a world that had often tried to strip it from her. On the day of the official ownership transfer, Monica sat in the back of her luxury car, feeling an undeniable sense of clarity. The Emerald Suites was just ahead, and the memories of her last visit, of being turned away, flooded her mind. But today was different. Today she wasn't walking in as a guest. She wasn't walking in to be rejected. Today she was walking in as the owner, the woman who now held the keys to the place that had once dismissed her. When her car pulled up to the entrance, Monica stepped out, dressed in a sharp black suit that exuded authority. She wasn't going to be misjudged or overlooked again. As she entered the hotel, she could feel the eyes of the staff on her. Bradley, the front desk attendant who had turned her away, was there again. His face paled as he recognized her, but Monica didn't acknowledge him. She walked past him with confidence, her heels clicking loudly on the marble floor. Inside the lobby, everything looked just as it had before, opulent and pristine. But there was a new energy in the air. The staff had been informed of the change in ownership, but they hadn't been told who the new owner was. When they realized who Monica was, the atmosphere shifted dramatically. She didn't need to say a word. Her presence spoke volumes. This was her space now. Monica walked past the front desk and through the lobby, heading straight toward the manager's office. Sarah, the hotel manager who had dismissed her so arrogantly during her last visit, was waiting for her. She had been informed about the new owner's arrival, but like the rest of the staff, she had no idea who it would be. The meeting had been scheduled days before, and Sarah, unaware of the imminent change, had been preparing for it carefully. Monica moved deliberately across the lobby, her steps measured. She noticed the staff's eyes on her, some curious, some confused, others whispering nervously among themselves. The whispers grew louder as the staff began to piece together the mystery, realizing that this was no ordinary guest. As Monica reached the office, Sarah stood by her desk, her back turned as she sorted through paperwork. Dressed in a crisp white blouse and tailored trousers, Sarah's appearance was as polished as ever. She didn't look up, assuming it was just another guest or staff member. Monica paused at the door, letting the silence stretch before she spoke, her voice calm but firm. "Good morning, Sarah." Sarah froze at the sound of Monica's voice. Slowly she turned around, her face shifting from disbelief to recognition, then to an awkward, strained smile. "Miss Green?" she stammered, clearly flustered. "I didn't realize you were—" Monica raised a hand, cutting her off. "I'm not here for small talk, Sarah," she said, her voice steady. "I'm here to introduce myself officially as the new owner of Emerald Suites." The words hit Sarah like a bombshell. Her eyes widened in shock, and her face drained of color. Monica stepped further into the office, her posture confident. "I've acquired this hotel," she continued. "Effective immediately, and I think we both know why I'm here." Sarah struggled to find her words, her mind racing to catch up with the reality of what was happening. She had dismissed one of the most powerful women in the world, and now that woman was standing in front of her as her boss. Monica let the silence linger for a moment before she spoke again. "The way I was treated here during my last visit was unacceptable, not just as a businesswoman, but as a person. Now that I own this hotel, things are going to change." Sarah opened her mouth to apologize, but Monica cut her off again. "I'm not interested in apologies," she said firmly. "What I want is to ensure this never happens again. Not to me, and not to anyone else who walks through these doors. Do you understand?" Sarah nodded quickly, her voice trembling. "Yes, Miss Green, I understand." Monica's tone softened, but just slightly. "Good. Things are going to be different here, effective immediately." I'll be bringing in a new leadership team, and every staff member will undergo diversity and inclusion training. This hotel will become a place where everyone is welcome, regardless of race, background, or appearance. Do you think you can help me make that happen?" Caught off guard by the question, Sarah hesitated for a moment, but then realized this was her final chance. If she didn't align with Monica's vision, her career at Emerald Suites was over. "Yes, Miss Green," she said, her voice more steady now. "I can help." Monica studied her for a long moment before responding. She didn't fully trust Sarah yet, but she was willing to give her a chance. "We'll see," she said, her tone measured. "For now, I expect your full cooperation during this transition. There's a lot of work to do, and I'll be watching closely to see who steps up." Sarah nodded quickly, relief showing in her eyes. "Of course, Miss Green, I'll do whatever it takes." Monica turned toward the door, taking one last look at the office. "I'll be in touch with the details of the new operational plan. In the meantime, I suggest you start preparing your staff for the changes ahead." With that, she walked out, leaving Sarah behind, visibly shaken. As Monica passed through the lobby again, she could feel the eyes of the staff on her, but this time the energy was different. They now knew who she was and what she represented. While some were nervous or fearful about the changes to come, Monica knew the hotel would ultimately benefit. Outside, the city bustled as always, but Monica felt calm and satisfied. She had taken control of a space that had once shut her out, and now it was hers. She glanced back at the hotel's grand entrance as she stepped into her waiting car, knowing that the next time she walked through those doors, everything would be different. Not just for her, but for everyone who entered the Emerald Suites. The media frenzy surrounding Monica's acquisition of the hotel began almost immediately. Headlines exploded across platforms, praising her as a symbol of resilience or criticizing her as just another wealthy businesswoman flexing her power. Monica understood that for some, this would be seen as a bold statement against racism in elite spaces, while for others it would be dismissed as a billionaire's move. But for Monica, it was never about what the public thought. It was about something much deeper, something personal. Her focus remained on the hotel. With the deal sealed, she knew it was time to transform Emerald Suites into a space that not only reflected her values, but redefined luxury hospitality. As Monica sat in her office reviewing the public statements prepared by her PR team, she knew her message had to be clear. This wasn't just about buying a hotel, it was about ownership, control, and representation. She wanted people to see that a Black woman could own and shape a luxury space in her own image. Jasmine, her PR strategist, entered the office giving Monica an update on the social media storm. "It's going viral," she said. "You've got everyone talking. The overwhelming majority sees this for what it is, a statement against racism in elite spaces. You're becoming a symbol for something much bigger." Monica nodded. "We need to make sure the message is clear," she said. "This isn't about flaunting wealth. It's about showing that ownership matters and that a Black woman can define luxury spaces on her terms." Jasmine left to refine the messaging, while Monica turned her attention back to her plans for the hotel. She wasn't just buying a property, she was creating a legacy. Her leadership team, including Jackin, Marcus, and Sophia, were already working with her to reshape the hotel's culture and operations, prioritizing diversity, inclusion, and community engagement. After days of planning, it was time for the grand reopening. Monica wanted the event to reflect the hotel's new identity, a celebration of luxury, culture, and inclusivity. She worked closely with Sophia to ensure the event featured performances from diverse artists, a keynote speech from herself, and a guest list that spanned industries and backgrounds. The night of the grand reopening, the hotel was buzzing with excitement. Guests, journalists, influencers, and community leaders mingled, experiencing the new atmosphere, one of warmth, inclusivity, and belonging. When Monica took the stage to address the crowd, her voice was steady, filled with emotion. "This hotel is more than just a business venture for me. It's a statement about who we are, who we can be, and what we can create when we come together. The Emerald Suites is a place where everyone is welcome, where diversity is celebrated, and where luxury is redefined. The crowd was a mix of smiling faces and those nodding in agreement. This was Monica's moment, and she wasn't about to let it slip away. "This is just the beginning," she declared. "We're going to change how the world views luxury. We're going to prove that inclusivity and excellence can coexist, and we'll ensure everyone who steps through these doors knows they belong here." The applause was thunderous, and Monica felt the weight of her past struggles lift. She had done it. She had taken ownership of a space that had once tried to exclude her, and now it was hers to shape, build, and leave a legacy. As the applause continued, Monica scanned the crowd, seeing a future where the Emerald Suites wasn't just a hotel, but a symbol of transformation. In that moment, she realized she hadn't just reclaimed her space, she had created something more powerful than she could have imagined. The impact from the grand reopening continued to resonate in the days that followed. The media hailed Monica's bold vision, calling the Emerald Suites the future of luxury hospitality. Headlines portrayed her as a trailblazer, someone who had not only shattered the glass ceiling, but was now reimagining the entire industry. The cultural significance of her ownership was undeniable, and social media buzzed with hashtags like "Oh Emerald Reborn" and "Olzer Luxury for All," celebrating her achievements. However, Monica knew the real work had only just begun. Sitting in her office one morning, she reviewed the latest staff feedback. While guests raved about the hotel, the internal transition was proving more difficult. Despite her diversity training and new policies, some staff members resisted the cultural shift she was pushing. A few had even quit, saying they didn't fit into the new culture. Monica wasn't surprised. Change was hard, especially for employees who had been part of a certain system for years. But she was undeterred. She had come this far, and a few bumps in the road wouldn't stop her. "I expected some resistance," she said, looking at her assistant Jasmine. "We're turning a ship that's been going in the same direction for a long time. Not everyone will be able to handle it." Jasmine smiled, offering support. "I know, but you're doing something important. The new staff, like Marcus and Jacqueline, believe in your vision. They see the potential here, as do the new hires. It's the older employees who are having the most difficulty." Monica considered the situation. "I think it's time for a face-to-face with the staff," she said. "They need to hear directly from me why these changes are necessary. If they're willing to adapt, I'll support them, but if they can't, we need to make room for those who can." A few days later, the entire staff gathered in one of the hotel's grand ballrooms. Monica stood at the front, flanked by her leadership team, Marcus, Jacqueline, and Sophia. She looked out over the crowd, a mix of housekeepers, front desk attendants, and maintenance workers. Some looked eager, while others seemed uncertain. Monica took a deep breath and began, her voice carrying authority and conviction. "Thank you for being here today," she said. "I want to speak to all of you directly because I believe in transparency. When I took over the Emerald Suites, it wasn't just about acquiring a luxury property. It was about creating something new, something that hadn't been done before." She paused, allowing her words to sink in. "I've spent my life working in spaces where I didn't always feel welcome, where I was often the only person who looked like me. I knew that if I was going to own this hotel, it had to be a place where everyone, guests and staff alike, felt they belonged." She continued, her tone firm yet compassionate. "I know change is hard, and I understand that some of you have been here for a long time. You're used to the old way. But the old way wasn't working. The Emerald Suites was struggling, losing money, losing reputation, stuck in a system that didn't welcome everyone. We're not just a luxury hotel anymore. We're setting a new standard, one that embraces diversity, celebrates inclusivity, and treats everyone with respect." Marcus stepped forward, echoing Monica's message. "We've started rolling out diversity and inclusion training, but this is about more than just following procedures. This is about changing how we think, how we treat one another, and how we operate." Jacqueline added, "I've worked in this industry for over 20 years, and I've seen what happens when hotels don't evolve. The Emerald Suites has a chance to lead, but we can only do that if we're all on board." Monica closed the meeting, giving the staff a choice. "I'm giving everyone the opportunity to grow with us," she said. "If you're willing to embrace this vision, I'll support you every step of the way. But if you can't treat others with respect and dignity, then this may not be the place for you." The room fell silent, but Monica felt confident. She had set the standard, and now it was up to the staff to decide how they would move forward. A few employees came up afterward to express their support, and the energy in the room began to shift. Later that afternoon, Monica reflected on the day's events. She had set the tone, but she knew the real work was still ahead. Leading this transformation wouldn't be easy, but she was ready for it. She wasn't just running a hotel, she was building a legacy. As the days passed, the energy in the hotel continued to shift. The diversity and inclusion programs gained momentum, and new hires brought fresh ideas and enthusiasm. The results were starting to show. Guests praised the hotel for its welcoming atmosphere, and the Emerald Suites was becoming known not only for its luxury, but also for its commitment to inclusivity. One evening, Monica stood on the hotel's rooftop terrace. watching the sunset over the city. The view was breathtaking, and for a moment she allowed herself to enjoy the peace. Marcus joined her, and they talked about the progress they had made. Despite the challenges, Monica felt a sense of pride in what they had accomplished, and excitement for the future. "What if we took this even further?" Marcus asked, sharing an idea that had been on his mind. "What if we partnered with local organizations, hosted events, and offered internships to young people from underserved communities? The Emerald Suites could become a hub for social change, not just in luxury hospitality, but in the community." Monica was thrilled by the idea. "Let's do it," she said. "This isn't just about transforming the hotel, it's about transforming the way people think about luxury. Let's make the Emerald Suites a place that supports the community and gives back." The following weeks were filled with planning and action. Monica worked closely with Marcus and Sophia to develop initiatives that would benefit the community. They reached out to local schools, offered internships, and hosted events that showcased minority artists and entrepreneurs. They even launched a mentorship program for aspiring business leaders from marginalized communities. As the Emerald Suites became known as more than just a luxury hotel, Monica couldn't help but feel a deep sense of accomplishment. She had created something that not only reflected her values, but actively contributed to the community. This was the legacy she had always dreamed of. Monica stood at the edge of the exhibition, quietly observing the crowd when she overheard a conversation between two young artists. One of them, filled with awe, said, "I never imagined my work would be displayed here. It doesn't even feel real?" Monica's heart swelled as she turned toward the artist, smiling warmly. "Believe it," she replied gently. "This is only the beginning. Your work belongs here. And so do you." The young artist, eyes wide in recognition, whispered, "You're Monica Green, aren't you?" Monica nodded, her voice filled with pride. "I am, and I'm incredibly proud of what you've created. You've earned your place here." The artist, visibly moved, wiped away a tear. "Thank you, this means so much." Monica smiled and moved on, her heart full. This was the legacy she was building, not just for herself, but for everyone who had ever felt like they didn't belong. As the evening unfolded, Monica took a step back, watching the room from the sidelines. People from all walks of life mingled, united by their shared experience of art and connection. In that moment, Monica realized that she had done more than open a successful hotel. She had created a space where people could truly be themselves, where differences were celebrated and everyone felt included. True luxury wasn't just about opulence, it was about building a community where people could thrive. Monica felt at peace, knowing that her work was just beginning. The next morning, she was roused from sleep by the gentle vibration of her phone. The early sunlight poured into the room, casting a warm glow as she reached for it. It was a message from Jasmine. "We've got an unexpected development. Call me when you wake up." Monica, curiosity piqued, sat up and dialed Jasmine's number. "Good morning," Jasmine answered, her voice alert. Sorry to wake you so early, but I wanted to ensure you heard this from me first. Monica listened intently. What's going on? There's been an issue at the hotel. Some of the longtime staff members are pushing back against the changes we've implemented. They're claiming that our focus on diversity is alienating them and that they're feeling marginalized, Jasmine explained. Monica's frown deepened. How serious is it? They've filed a formal complaint, and a few of the senior staff, including Bradley and Sarah, are leading it. They've even involved a lawyer, Jasmine said cautiously. Monica took a deep breath, processing the news. She had expected resistance, but this felt more organized. Who's leading this complaint? It's Bradley and Sarah, Jasmine said. They've been here for years and are rallying some of the others. They've also got legal counsel involved. Monica closed her eyes briefly. This wasn't just resistance, it was a challenge to everything she had worked for. Let's get ahead of this. Schedule a meeting with the leadership team for later today. Already done, Jasmine responded. It's set for noon in the main conference room. Marcus and Jacqueline are both ready to support you. Monica nodded, appreciating the support. Thanks, Jasmine. I'll see you all at noon. Later that day, Monica sat at the head of the long conference table. Her leadership team gathered around her. Marcus, Jacqueline, and Sophia sat beside her, all prepared to tackle the situation. Jasmine stood nearby, ready to assist. Marcus began. The complaint is centered on our focus on diversity. They claim it's creating a divide between the newer and the more established staff. They feel like they're being pushed aside. Monica absorbed the information, her mind racing. And they've hired a lawyer? Yes, Marcus confirmed. They say the environment has become hostile for the long-time staff, like their experience doesn't matter. Jacqueline's frustration was evident as she interjected, We've done everything to make this transition smooth. We've offered training, had open discussions, and clarified that it's not about excluding anyone. It's about making the hotel better for everyone. Monica, calm but firm, spoke up. This isn't just about resistance to change, it's about fear. These employees are afraid they're losing their place in the hotel they've known for years. Exactly, Marcus agreed. They see diversity as a threat to their status, but they don't understand it's not about replacing them. It's about evolving. Monica's thoughts raced. She knew she couldn't compromise on her vision for the hotel, but she also wanted to respect the longtime staff who had built their careers here. We need to address this directly. I want to meet with Bradley, Sarah, and the others. We need to understand their concerns and make it clear that while we respect their history, we're moving forward. Sophia, her voice steady, asked, Do you think they'll be willing to listen? Bradley especially has been vocal about his dissatisfaction. Monica sighed. I'm not sure, but we need to give them a chance. If they can't embrace the new direction, then they'll have to decide if they want to stay or leave. Jacqueline agreed. You're right. Let's address this head on. The following day, Monica faced Bradley, Sarah, and 3 other longtime employees in the same conference room. The atmosphere was tense, the weight of the situation heavy in the air. I've called you all here to address the concerns you raised, Monica began, her tone calm but resolute. I understand the changes have been difficult for some of you, and I want to hear your thoughts directly. Bradley was the first to speak, his voice tight with frustration. It feels like we're being pushed out. We've been here for years, and now it's like none of that matters. All this focus on diversity makes it feel like the way we've done things isn't good enough anymore. Monica met his gaze steadily. I understand how it feels, but the changes we're making are not about devaluing your contributions. They're about reflecting the world we live in, a world that's diverse and inclusive. Sarah, quieter now, spoke up. It's hard to let go of the way things were. We helped build this place, and now it feels like everything we knew is being erased. Monica nodded. I understand. Change is hard, especially when you've invested so much in something. But the truth is, the hotel was struggling to keep up. We had to make changes to ensure our future. I'm not asking you to forget what we've built. I'm asking you to help shape what comes next. The room was silent, as everyone absorbed her words. Bradley still looked frustrated, but Sarah seemed to soften. Monica continued, "I value your experience. You've been important to the hotel's success, and I believe you can still be an important part of its future. But the future we're building includes everyone. Diversity isn't just a buzzword, it's a core value. If you're willing to embrace it, I'll support you." Bradley, shifting in his seat, asked, "And if we're not?" Monica met his gaze without flinching. "Then you'll have to make a choice. No one is being forced to stay, but the hotel is moving forward with or without you." The tension in the room was palpable. Bradley glanced at Sarah and they exchanged uncertain looks. Monica stood up, signaling the end of the meeting. "Take some time to think about it, but know this: the Emerald Suites is moving forward." When the decision came, it was as Monica had expected. Bradley and Sarah both resigned, leaving the hotel immediately. Monica sat back, processing the news. It wasn't easy, but she respected their decision. The Emerald Suites would move on without them, and she would continue to shape it into the inclusive, forward-thinking place she had envisioned. Later, Monica reflected on what their departures meant: the end of an era. The hotel was now fully hers, and it was her responsibility to ensure its future. She wasn't just running a business, she was proving that luxury and inclusivity could coexist. The critics would have to accept it. The hotel would thrive, and Monica was determined to lead it into a new era, no matter the cost. Monica had worked closely with her leadership team to ensure a seamless transition after Bradley and Sarah's departure. Marcus and Jacqueline took on more visible roles, managing daily operations while the hotel searched for new hires to fill the vacancies. Monica was hands-on with the recruitment process, carefully vetting candidates to ensure they aligned with the values of the newly rebranded Emerald Suites. Under Monica's guidance, the hotel flourished, with guest satisfaction reaching new heights. The community outreach initiatives, partnerships with local artists, and mentorship programs for minority entrepreneurs were gaining attention, establishing the hotel as more than just a luxury destination. It became a symbol of social responsibility. Despite the hotel's success, Monica felt there was more to be done. She wanted to elevate Emerald Suites beyond the confines of the hospitality industry, using it as a catalyst for wider societal change. During a meeting with Marcus, an idea began to form. They discussed the mentorship program, and Marcus suggested expanding it to include other industries like tech, fashion, and finance. Monica was intrigued by the prospect of turning the hotel into a hub for innovation, mentorship, and social impact across multiple sectors. Monica embraced the idea, and together with Marcus and the team, they began reaching out to leaders in different industries to form partnerships. Soon, Emerald Suites became a meeting ground for entrepreneurs, innovators, and investors, creating a network that encouraged collaboration and creativity. The mentorship program expanded, bringing in young talent from various fields. The hotel became a beacon of progress, a place where success was no longer just about financial gain, but the positive impact it had on the world. Throughout this journey, Monica stayed connected with her staff, knowing that the heart of the Emerald Suites was in the people who worked there. One evening, as she walked through the lobby, a young housekeeper named Aisha approached her, expressing her gratitude for making the hotel feel like home for the staff, not just the guests. Monica was deeply touched, realizing that the culture of inclusivity and belonging had spread beyond the guests to the employees as well. As the hotel continued to grow, Monica's vision began to take shape. Emerald Suites hosted its largest event yet, celebrating the official launch of the Emerald Initiative. This program, which expanded the hotel's mission beyond hospitality, united people from diverse industries who shared the same commitment to social responsibility. The event was a resounding success, drawing attention from major corporations, community leaders, and young entrepreneurs. Monica was ready to take the next step, and the momentum was palpable. Monica took the stage to address the crowd, her speech resonating with everyone in the room. She spoke about the journey of transforming the Emerald Suites into a place that not only offered luxury, but also embraced diversity and inclusivity. She shared how she had chosen to confront barriers and transform the hotel into a space where success was measured by its positive social impact. The launch of the Emerald Initiative, she said, was just the beginning. The hotel was now a platform for change, helping marginalized communities and providing opportunities for young leaders across industries. The crowd erupted into applause as Monica spoke from the heart, emphasizing that the initiative wasn't just about the hotel itself, but about creating pathways for people and communities that had been historically excluded. She encouraged the young people in the room, reminding them that the space was theirs to shape, and the Emerald Initiative was a movement they were building together. As the event unfolded, Monica reflected on her journey. She had once been told that she didn't belong in spaces like this, but now she stood at the helm of one of the most iconic hotels in the city, leading a movement that was reshaping the future. Though challenges lay ahead, Monica knew she was exactly where she was meant to be. This was her legacy, one built not just on wealth, but on creating opportunities and breaking down barriers. She had created something that would endure far beyond her time, and that, to her, was the true measure of success.